Today we'll be looking at the impact of education on Nigeria and talking to Naomi Foxcroft of Stepping Stones Nigeria.
What is Stepping Stone Nigeria?
Stepping Stones Nigeria is a UK-based charity which has a passion for defending and upholding the rights of children in the Niger Delta region. Our work with Nigerian partner organisations saves and transforms the lives of vulnerable and stigmatised children to provide outstanding levels of education and also to raise literacy levels of less privileged children. We work through advocacy and campaigning, and we promote a greater understanding of children's rights and also fight to prevent the abuse of children in the Niger Delta region.
So what is your role specifically as the education officer?
My role really, I work on two areas. One is literacy and one is education. So with the literacy, we're at the moment working on promoting literacy within primary education. And in education, we support 4 different primary schools. So my work is to make sure that they're running smoothly and that they have everything they need to develop to the full. There's 2 primary schools that are located in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. One is Stepping Stones Model School. That was the first school that we actually constructed ourselves. That has about 200 pupils. There's a second school, which is a school especially for street children, which is also in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria, near a town called Eket. And that also provides education for about 200 children and was constructed with funds from Stepping Stones Nigeria. And we also support 2 schools in River State, Bodo School and Bane School, which are located in the Goni region of River State.
So what principal sort of practical problems do you face in the running of these schools?
Well, one of the problems that we face, especially for the running of the school for street children, is that, of course, in Akwa Ibom State, most of the street children are perceived to be witches and wizards. So, obviously, we want to get the same level of recognition in this school as for the other schools. But, quite often the ministry would see the school as not being sort of a valid school because, of this belief that these children are witches and wizards and therefore not real children of the society. So, if that answers your question.
What practical problems do the children themselves face trying to get back into school?
Okay. Well, actually, what our Stepping Stones Model School, about 50% of the children there are either on full scholarship or part scholarship. So the only reason why they were able to come to the school is because we pay for their uniforms and we pay for their books. And so we have a close relationship with it. Many of those live with their grandparents who perhaps aren't educated or perhaps with one-parent families. So, these are the issues that are facing not just the children at the school, but many, many children across Nigeria. Essentially it's poverty, it's not being able to afford school fees if there are school fees, and then not being able to afford the resources that they need, to actually gain a good education.
Speaking on the Witch Children documentary, do you reckon the message was passed correctly?
The one on the Dispatches documentary you're talking about?
Yes.
Well, I would say that, I've lived in Akwa Ibom State myself. I know most of the children that were in that documentary, and certainly there was nothing in that documentary that was untrue. What you saw was children are stigmatized as being witches and wizards. That's absolutely true. And, and when I used to see the children on the street and chat to them on a daily basis, and you could ask any of them, what had happened, what their story was, and in 99% of the cases, the abandonment was caused due to witch stigmatization. So that was certainly, true. There was nothing in there that I thought was misrepresented. Of course, you could say that it could have been a bit more balanced. You could have said there could have been a little bit more to show what Nigerian people themselves are doing to help this problem. Although when I was there, you would find in Akwa Ibom State very few people that would actually do something to help these children. But yeah, so it could have been slightly more balanced. It could have showed not just Gary, who's someone from the UK, but a little bit more of the other Nigerians, who are fighting to address this issue. So yes, there could have been a bit more of a balance. But when you have the documentaries makers coming in to film something, you don't often have control over exactly what they film.
Right now, the Stepping Stones Nigerian initiative, as you said, is mostly based around Akwa Ibom and River State. Is anything being put in place to expand?
Yes, absolutely. One of the aspects of our vision is that we hope to fight for the rights of children in the Niger Delta with the aim of inspiring others elsewhere. So that actually gives us quite a large capacity to expand. So at the moment, we are focusing on River State and Akwa Ibom State. And then from there, we intend to expand out into other states in the Niger Delta. But we're very, very open, for working in other states. For example, with the literacy project that I'm working on, I've had people from about 8 different states contact me and say we would like to do the same thing. And we don't shut the door on them at all. We keep in touch with them, and we're trying to think of ways that we could support them so that the momentum of change is not lost. So we are very, very keen on working with other states, although at the moment we are working in just these 2 states alone.
Just going back to when Stepping Stone Nigeria started, because we're a relatively new group, we just want to hear from you the way Stepping Stone started.
Sure. I think that is such an excellent question because, as you know, Stepping Stones Nigeria is now quite a large charity, and it really only started with a trip by my husband, Gary Foxcroft, in about 2003, 2004. He travelled to the Niger Delta to research the issues of oil pollution and the oil industry in that area. And when he was there, he actually came across some inspiring individuals, one who was a head teacher of a state school in Eket, Akwa Ibom. And, he spoke to them and they said how much they would like to make things better for the children, in their state, and how they would like to provide them, with a better education, because at the time school fees were not being paid and teachers were on strike. So, he had this conversation with a few inspiring individuals and was inspired by them and came back to the UK. And at this point he met me, and I was teaching in the UK, and he told me all about what he'd seen, the issues that school children face in the Niger Delta. And he said how wonderful it would be if he could just go with me and build a school for disadvantaged children, so orphans and less privileged children that at the time were not able to access education in Akwa Ibom. So all we did, and this is what any Nigerian can do, is we just shook hands and said, let's do it. We didn't even know how we would do it. We didn't know anything about education in Nigeria. We didn't know anything about working in Akwa Ibom State, about the legal issues that we might face, about funding, but we just went ahead and did it. And quite simply, we wrote a plan. It was just one piece of paper that we stuck on the wall, and obviously the first thing we had to do was raise the funds. And again, this is just shows the power of people power, because we just called all of our friends and said, we need your help. And for 1 year we had all sorts of different events. We had parties, we had drama shows, we all sorts of things. People did a sponsored cycle ride for us, and in 1 year we raised nearly £10,000. And this was enough to give us, the courage just to go into the unknown, really, to go to Nigeria and, do our best to do the right thing. We know you cannot just go and impose an idea on somewhere that you don't know. So obviously we made the contact. We were very careful. We got to know the local community. And we just, it was not just about having the intention, and it wasn't just about having the action, but it was about learning as you go along. So if you want to change something, you just have to, find out as much as you can about it and, understand the legal issues, understand what the challenges can be, so that when the challenges come, you can simply overcome them. And since then, there were times when we ran out of money, or there were times when people tried to challenge what we were doing. And every time, just self-belief and hard work and learning, got us through it. And even now, it continues to be like that. And, it's just that old saying that every challenge shouldn't be, it's certainly not a problem. It's just, a hurdle to get over to achieve what you want to do.
I know you sort of touched on it about the inspiring other states, but what's in the immediate future for Stepping Stones Nigeria?
Okay, so what we're doing currently is we're working on 4 areas, which I sort of already mentioned. We have literacy education, advocacy and campaigning, and also we have our schools. So with literacy, what we're doing, we're right in the middle of a very exciting project called the Read and Write Now Literacy Project. And what that's looking at is that it's not just good enough for children to be attending school under free and compulsory education. It's all about the quality of education. And what we've noted, and I'm sure that you've noted this too, that in primary state schools, across Nigeria, the level of literacy, not just of the pupils, but of the teachers, is very poor. So what this project is about, it's about training all the primary 1 and primary 2 state school teachers in Akwa Ibom State, and, in the future, hopefully, other states, how to teach children how to read and write. And it sounds like such a simple thing, but you'll find that, in Nigeria, when you ask a teacher, how do you teach a child to read, they actually don't know. And that's quite common. I mean, even in the UK a few years ago, teachers were not really taught with the best techniques. And so what we're doing is we're introducing a technique called synthetic phonics, which is quite simply knowing the sounds that we speak in English, such as cat is k, at, and putting them together to make cat. Now, that might sound so straightforward to you, but I can tell you that most teachers that I've worked with in Akwa Ibom State could not tell me what what sound a letter makes. So we're giving them training, we're providing them with free resources. So at the moment, we've trained about a third of the state, and then we'll train the rest of the state in April. And every teacher and school that's been trained has access to black and white workbooks, which are cheap and easy to reproduce. The children are using them. We are monitoring the teachers. So this is a very exciting project. And the aim is that by the end of primary 2, children will actually be able to read and write, which is something that we're not seeing at the moment. So that's a very exciting literacy project. And then in the area of advocacy and campaigning, we just completed the first stage of what we call Operation Enlightenment. And we've already spoken slightly about the issue of child witches in Akwa Ibom State, and not just Akwa Ibom State, but other states in the Niger Delta. And we found that a very effective way to reach people is through music and through drama. So this Operation Enlightenment is about traveling around the state with a drama troupe, with pop singers that have created songs which sort of talk about not abusing children and not stigmatizing children as witches, and also with a comedian. And we've, I think, in the last 2 weeks we've reached 20,000 people. So that's a very exciting project. And with education, we continue to support the 4 schools, and we're working on establishing a secondary school at our founding school, which is Stepping Stones Model School.
Oh, that's very, very good to
Thank
hear
you.
that you're doing all this and trying to help our country.
Well, we have one more question. We'd like to firstly congratulate you on all the good work you're doing, but we would like to know how the young people in Nigeria can get involved with Stepping Stones Nigeria.
Okay, there's lots of ways to get involved. In terms of the literacy project, you've mentioned it already about our work being in other states. Well, at the moment, we're encouraging other states to contact us and to show interest in this project. And if they are indeed interested in this project, it might take 1 or 2 years, but our aim is that we can provide a free pilot study in any state where 6 schools will be trained, the teachers will be trained free of charge, they'll be provided with free resources, and it'll be a 1-year pilot study. And if that pilot study is successful, we will then offer the rollout of this literacy project in their state once more with free training for the primary school teachers and free resources. And I know this sounds incredible and almost impossible, but this is what we aim to do. So one thing they can do is if young people in Nigeria have any contact with people who are high up in education at state level, so it could be the ministries, it could be the universities, the education institutes at universities or teacher training colleges, let them know and just give them our website details, or they can get in touch with me personally and I can give them more information. In the area of advocacy and campaigning, people are very welcome to join our PACT campaign. That stands for Prevent Abuse of Children Today, and we actually have a website address, and you can just go to this website and it takes you through how you can help to prevent the abuse of children in the Niger Delta as a result of witchcraft stigmatization. So they can get involved in that campaign. That involves writing letters, it involves signing a petition and setting up their own groups or running events and fundraising.
Well, so just one more question. The Stepping Stone Nigeria is based towards the prevention of abuse of children. And part of the message you're putting across is stopping the witchcraft stereotype. What about child labor? Is this something which you're also looking into?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We know it's not just about the issue of child witches. We know there's issues such as child labor. We know, for example, child trafficking, general violence caused by other reasons, not just the witchcraft issues. So at the moment, this has been our focus, but we are looking strategically to obviously look at other issues that that are affecting children, because we're a child's rights charity. So we wouldn't really be completely satisfied until we looked at other rights that are actually being abused at the moment. But at the moment, we're not working on child labour. But hopefully, in the future, that's something that we'll naturally have to deal with.
Thank you very much, Naomi. That was
thank you.
So useful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is really what you're doing is so inspiring. It
well,
is.
the thing is that we have so many inspiring individuals that we're working with in Nigeria, and we couldn't do this without those Nigerian people. They are the ones there on the ground, dealing with these issues. Incredible Nigerians that also make this possible.
So great, Naomi, that was brilliant. Thank you.